I'm paying off $100,000 worth of debt and still choosing to take a family vacation to Disney next week.
How about you? How much debt do you have?
Probably $75,000. Credit cards and then a car loan as well.
I just booked a trip to Disneyland even though I'm paying off $41,000 worth of debt.
Disney debt. Time and time again, we're seeing people risk their financial futures, putting themselves in mountains of bad debt for the House of Mouse. Today, we've got a few glaring examples.
I just booked a trip to Disneyland even though I'm paying off $41,000 worth of debt. This is my third time going this year to a Disney park.
Let's just anchor this properly. If you're in $40,000 of high interest debt, Disneyland becomes a liability. Doing so 3 times in 1 year isn't a treat, but a pattern. That $40,000 number alone deserves attention. When a financial hole is that deep, large spending habits become far more destructive. The last thing you should be planning is a trip to Disneyland.
We've really been enjoying ourselves. My kids are 4 and 5, so they're like literally the perfect age to like watch them go through and like experience the magic so purely, and so it makes us feel like we're kids again too.
This is an argument I hear all of the time, that it's for the kids. You can create meaningful childhood experiences without attaching them to obscene price tags. And where will this put them when they're adults and having to be financially responsible for a parent's spending habits?
We're just gonna go to Disneyland. We just moved from Montana to Arizona, and so we do have a lot of our old Christmas decor that we brought with us that we are gonna bring out hopefully this weekend. But there's no need for us to like buy a bunch of new decor this year, honestly.
New decorations every year, new experiences every year. It's keeping up with the Joneses mentality that keeps people in perpetual debt.
Instead, we're going to allocate that, and my kids will get presents from literally everyone else in their life, and we're going to take them to Disneyland the week before Christmas.
You can make memories at a family picnic, the park, a zoo trip if you want to splurge. Do you think 3 Disney trips is a valid way to make memories? Let's take a look at some of these comments. Girl, who cares? YOLO. Debt can wait. Life is too short. Oh, good Lord. Your kids are only this little once. Right, you could say this about them being at any age. She should be a responsible parent. She does not need to do an entire trip to Disney. There are other cheaper options. Sarah, be so for real. Please go touch some grass, babe. Have a great day. And this is by someone who is paying off debt while raising babies with 175k followers. Yes, girl, life is too short. You do you. Life doesn't stop. Have the best time. I'ma be real. Life doesn't stop just because you have debt. Taking time to go on vacations isn't the deal breaker some people think it is. She's 100% going into more debt.
Honestly, I don't really care. It's fully justified for me.
Yep, and that's the real issue here. You don't really care. $40,000 isn't just a number. That's hundreds of dollars a month just in interest. And when minimum payments become the norm, you're not reducing the problem. People are going to hate this. I hope you have fun. Yep, let them. What else can you say? Despite that, anyway, it still gets worse.
I'm paying off $100,000 worth of debt and still choosing to take a family vacation to Disney next week, and so many people have called me crazy for doing so.
Yep, I wonder why people would call this decision crazy.
So I want to break down the numbers for you and see if you would make the same decision as me. To set the stage for you, we're going with my husband on a work trip to Orlando. So he would already be in Orlando because of work.
Okay, I'm not against this idea. Using points that the husband is already accruing as part of his job is not inherently irresponsible. I would personally want to tackle that $100,000 of debt because I'm sure those interest payments aren't great, but I don't think this is automatically reckless spending.
So he was able to pay for my ticket, my daughter's ticket, my son's ticket, and my mother-in-law's ticket, all with points. All we had to do was pay taxes.
Covering the mother-in-law's travel when you're tackling $100,000 worth of debt does stick out to me. Surely they'd be much happier for you to be working towards bringing that debt mountain down before you're taking them on vacation. However, there's so many circumstances where maybe they have to travel with you.
Now, the main reason that we wanted to go to Orlando specifically is so that we could take our kids to Disney. So we purchased 5 tickets, me, my husband, and my mother-in-law, and then our 2 kids. And you can see here the total for that was $995.79.
And this is where you lost me. If you're paying off 6 figures worth of debt, adding a $1,000 expense for one day is such a sign of over-consumerism. And remember, $1,000 isn't the total cost. We all know theme parks are rarely just the tickets. There's food, drinks, merch. You can see how rapidly a smart financial decision can spiral into a compounding debt when it comes to spending.
Now here's where I got very, very lucky. We're only doing 1 day at Disney this trip because my kids are very young, just so that we can feel it out.
I would argue skipping going to Disneyland until they are older and you've worked off some more of that debt, but I feel like she's circling the correct mindset.
And so we wanted to do one more bigger thing while we were there, and we decided to go to Universal Studios.
Once people have justified the first expense, the next one feels easier. When you first think this trip is free, it very quickly turns into thousands of dollars being spent on a vacation.
So this is not only for all 5 of us to go, but for my sister-in-law to go also. I was able to work into a brand deal that I got a comp for $1,000, which means for those 6 Universal tickets, I paid $184.28.
We're not factoring in food, drinks, merch, and all the costs that come when you take a family to one of these attractions. But let me ask you this question. Disneyland is over $1,000 and Universal is only $184. If the goal is to balance experience with financial responsibility, the rational question becomes, why not choose the lower cost option and direct the difference towards the debt?
Now, obviously, this doesn't include the money that we're going to spend on food or gas while we're there, but if you were able to go to Orlando for 6 days and go to Universal and Magic Kingdom for under $1,200, even though you had debt, would you go?
Right, it doesn't include that. It's going to quickly balloon past $1,200 for 5 people. She clearly has a more financially aware mindset, but when debt is that high, the default should be minimization. Let's look at some of these comments. I'd go in a heartbeat. Memories like this for only $1,200. 1,000% worth it. Again, it's not only for $1,200, but it's easy to trick yourself into thinking it would be. Girl, you could die tomorrow. Go on, all the trips. You paid off $50,000 worth of debt last year. That deserves to be celebrated. Paying off $50,000 in a year is substantial and definitely worth celebrating, but you can quickly snowball into more debt. This you could die tomorrow mentality is why so many people get into debt so young. Probably not because I get in my head how far that $1,200 would go towards the debt. We did a year and a half with no fun trips and it was so worth it.
Are you guys in any kind of debt right now?
Mine's pretty minimal, I think. Credit card and a vehicle, probably about 60.
$60,000 minimal is crazy to me. On a home, that number would be manageable, but this is consumer debt.
It's a lot.
What's left on the car loan?
53.
What are you driving?
A 24 Toyota Tundra.
Here's something we see time and time again. People getting these massive loans for a truck when the majority of normal people don't need to have access to one for work. But it does get so much worse.
How about you? How much debt do you have?
Probably $75,000. Credit cards, and then a car loan as well.
What's your car loan?
Student loans, yeah.
$75,000 in credit cards and a car loan. She mentioned student loans, but I don't even think that's included in this $75,000 number, as you'll see.
What's your car loan?
Student loans, yeah. Like 60.
60? What are you driving?
I was
You
terrible.
rolled over negative equity, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yes. Honda Pilot, 25.
$60,000 on a Honda Pilot. Even brand new, that 25 model goes for around $40,000. So that means she would have had around $20,000 in negative equity. Because if you're already in debt on one car, what's the issue with rolling that over and getting in even more debt for a new car?
What's your car payment?
$1,200.
You see this all the time, where the car payments have ballooned so massively that before you know it, you're sinking $1,200 a month for a car payment. And you just know the interest on that is going to be staggering.
How about your car payment?
982.
I mean, you're just giving away the income every month at this point, right?
Yeah.
And he's exactly right. When debt spirals, you are just giving away your income every month, spending what you earn on car payments and credit cards that it becomes impossible to pay it all back.
How much student loans we have left?
I probably have 100,000 in student loans.
Okay, add it all up in your head. I think we're doing this for the first time. How much debt do you have total?
I'm going to say at least 180 grand.
So that means she has $60,000 in the car, close to $20,000 in credit cards, and $100,000 in student loans. That's $180,000 and doesn't even include a mortgage. And with all of this, you're still going on a trip to Disney? Let's be $100,000 in debt and go to Disney. $1,200 car payment is insanity. I fully agree, and we're going to do an episode on car debt, so get subscribed for that. I always wonder how people afford vacations. I'm starting to realize they're just growing more debt by being on these trips. I guess I'll just keep paying my bills and not go on a trip like a normal person should. Live a little, bro. And this is what we've seen. So many people have normalized going into debt for vacations that people typically can't afford on a normal salary.
Can you tell me, did you guys pay cash for the trip?
For half of it.
The other half is on what?
A Disney card.
Oh, the Disney credit card.
Wow, so putting half of it on a Disney card. And if you don't pay off that amount, that quickly grows to between 17 and 28%. But you'll see soon that the Disney card is trapping more and more people.
Okay, so is your plan to pay it off in 6 months?
That's
Yes,
the plan.
that is the plan if we can do that for sure. Yeah.
That doesn't instill confidence.
Correct, that shouldn't instill confidence. If you don't pay that off, that's going to balloon way over 28% interest.
Do you guys have any debt right now?
Yes.
How much?
My student loans, they're about $100,000.
Another person with $100,000 in student debt.
What was your degree?
Business administration,
How much total do you have in debt?
probably around $128,000, I'd say total.
And at 22 years old, being in $125,000 of total debt with no end goal in sight and still taking an expensive trip to Disney.
Is there a game plan to be like, I'm going to pay this off in 3 years, or is it just kind of like, I'll make my payments?
It's going to be probably in about 15 years, I'm assuming I'll get it paid off. I don't know.
I do feel like people should be enjoying their lifestyles, but at least be making financial plans when you're sitting on top of $100,000 of debt.
We should not be giving you taxpayer money if you're going to Disneyland.
Thanks for the tax payment.
Oh, this is a bad one.
Girl, you live in borderline poverty. Why do you have this Disney card? It's at a 36% interest rate?
I want to know how people get roped into these huge interest credit cards. The more of this content we view, the more I feel that people don't understand the numbers or just think that they'll pay it off each month. But you'll see here that she's declared bankruptcy prior to this, so she must have some idea of interest numbers going through something as stressful as a bankruptcy.
You get the worst interest rate credit cards that anyone could find.
Well, yeah, that's because I was bankrupt. Thinking about cutting it out.
After
Me and my
bankruptcy,
daughter-
you're thinking about.
Well, me and my daughter
After
really
begging the
enjoy
government
it.
for money, you're thinking about it? F you.
Let's look at some of the comments. 36% interest rate should be illegal. Fully agree. I believe schools should bring back home economics as a requirement for education and graduation. Schools do not teach kids how to balance money or basic principles of learning how to navigate life. I like Pokemon cards, but I don't drop $700 on my Chase card because I need to pay my bills first. Exactly. We all have things that we love to spend money on, but it's about being responsible and spending strategically within your means. Alright, that about does it for today's video. If you liked it, then feel free to subscribe. See you in the next one.
Disney's awesome.
I didn't say it's not.